1 hour. That's how long it takes us to walk from home to our farm. And for some people, 1 hour might feel like a long time just to get somewhere. But for me, this walk has been more than just a way to reach the farm. It gives me time to think, time to breathe, time to look around and appreciate the things I've sometimes become too busy to notice. Because life can get really busy. I'm a mom, I'm a building a career online as a social media manager. I have work to finish, children to take care of, a home to manage, and so many responsibilities in between. And then there's this farm, another responsibility, another dream, another thing that needs time, patience, and work. But somehow, when I come here and everything feels a little slower, and maybe that's what I need sometimes to slow down, to walk, to think, to remember why we started. As we walk, I always think about how different our lives looks now compared to what we imagined before. We have so many plans for this farm. Plans for planting, plans for improving the land, plans for building little spaces here and there. Plans for making this place useful not just for us, but hopefully someday for our children too. But one thing I've learned is that having a dream doesn't mean everything happens immediately. Sometimes you have to start with what you have, and that's exactly what we are doing today. Today, we're starting another project. We are building our payag sa bukid. There was already a small shelter here before, but because of the years that passed without proper care and maintenance, the wood eventually became weak. It started to rot and eventually it wasn't strong enough anymore. So we decided instead of just leaving it there, we're going to rebuild it. Make it stronger, make it more useful, make it something we can actually use again. So, and honestly, there was something beautiful about rebuilding something that has already been there. Because it reminds me that not everything that becomes old or damaged has to be thrown away. Sometimes it just needs to be repaired, sometimes it needs to be strengthened, and sometimes it needs another chance. And maybe that's the true for life too. One thing I really appreciate about this project is that the materials we're using are coming from our own farm. The wood we're using is from here. It's not fancy, it's not expensive. It may not look like something you would see in a beautiful farm resort, but it's ours. It came from this land, and it reminds me of something I've been learning over and over again. We have to learn how to use what God has already placed in our hands. Sometimes we spend so much time looking what we don't have. We look other we look at other people's farms, other people's houses, other people's businesses, other people equipment, other people's success, and we start thinking, maybe I can't do this because I don't have enough. But what if the question isn't what am I missing? What if the question is what do I already have? What God has already entrusted to me? And what can I do with it? We don't have everything figured out. Far from it. There are still so many things we want to improve here. But we've decided to start anyway. One small project at a time. One improvement at a time. One tree at a time. One piece of wood at a time. And maybe that's how life works too. We often want to see the finished picture. We want to know how everything will turn out. We want to know if the business will succeed, if the career will grow, if the farm will become what we imagine, if our children will grow up okay, if all the sacrifices will eventually be worth it. But sometimes we don't get to know the ending. We just have to take the step. There are so many things we have planned for this farm, but honestly, only God knows what this place will eventually become. We can make plans, we can dream, we can work, we can plant, we can build, but the outcome that belongs to God. And I think that's one of the hardest lesson to learn because we want control, we want certainty, We want to know that all our hard work will lead exactly where we want it to go. But faith means continuing even when you don't know. It means saying, Lord, this is what I can do today. I'll do my part and I'll trust you with the rest. So today, we're not building the whole farm. We're not accomplishing every dream. We're just building a small payag. But maybe that's enough because progress doesn't always look impressive. Sometimes progress looks like a pieces of wood. Sometimes it looks like getting your hands dirty. Sometimes it looks like walking for an hour just to reach the place you're trying to build. And sometimes progress looks like showing up again after you thought you were already too tired. And I think that's something I've learned from being a mother. You don't build a family in one day. You build it through ordinary days. Through cooking meals, waking up early, taking care of the children, teaching them, correcting them, hugging them, showing up again and again. And building a career is the same. As a social media manager, I've learned that growth doesn't happen overnight. You create, you post, you learn, you analyze, you make mistakes, you try again, you stay consistent. And sometimes you wonder if anybody is even noticing. But then one day you look back and realize you've actually come a long way. That's why this farm feels connected to my digital career in a strange way because both require patience, both require consistency, both require faith. You plant something and then you wait. You work and then you wait. You give it attention, then you wait. And while you're waiting, you keep working. You don't dig up the seed every morning just to check if it's growing. You trust the process, you water it, you take care of it, and eventually something happens beneath the soil that you cannot see. Maybe that's what happens with our dreams too. There are seasons when it looks like nothing is happening, but maybe something is happening underneath. Maybe we just can't see it yet. And now, little by little, the payag is becoming stronger. The same place that was one week and deteriorating, it slowly becomes useful. And honestly, I love that because it reminds that rebuilding is also a form of progress. We don't always have to start from zero. Sometimes we can take what remains and build something stronger from it. Maybe some of you watching this are also in rebuilding season. Maybe you are rebuilding your career, maybe you're rebuilding your finances, maybe you're rebuilding your confidence. Maybe you're starting a small business. Maybe you're raising children while trying to pursue your own dreams. Maybe you are working on something that nobody else really understands yet. And maybe you're looking around thinking, I'm still so far from where I want to be. I understand that feeling because I feel it too. There are still so many things I want to accomplish, so many dreams I want to pursue, so many things I want to improve. But I'm learning not to despise small beginnings because small doesn't mean insignificant. Slow down doesn't mean you're failing, and taking longer doesn't mean you're not making progress. Sometimes, slow is exactly what we need because while we're building the dream, God is also building us. I don't know exactly what this farm will look like 5 or 10 years from now. Maybe we'll have more trees, maybe we'll have more animals, maybe we'll have more structures. Maybe this place will become something completely different from what we're imagining today. I don't know, and I'm okay with it because I don't need to know everything. I just need to be faithful with what is in the front of me. Today, that means building this payag. Tomorrow, maybe it will be planting something. Another day, maybe it will be cleaning the land. Another day, maybe it will be working on my social media career. Another day, maybe it will simply to taking care of my children. Different tasks, but same purpose, to be faithful with what we've been entrusted to me. So this is where we are right now. Still building, still learning, still dreaming, still figuring things out. We don't have the complete picture, but we have enough to take the next step. And maybe that's all we really need. We don't need to know the entire road. We just need enough faith to take this next step. And 1 hour of walking brought us here today. And now, one piece of wood at a time. We're building this little shelter. Maybe someday, when we look back at this video, we'll see how far this farm has come. But for now, this is enough. This is little payag, this little farm, this family, this work, those dreams, and these seasons of slowly building. I'm grateful because everything we have is something God has entrusted to us. As long as He give us strength, we will keep moving, we will keep planting, we will keep building, and we will keep trusting Him with the results. Because our job is to move with what God has placed in our hands. The future, He already knows. This is Joy, a mom, building a digital career as a social media manager, and a farmer, slowly building a farm with her family. One step, one day, one dream at a time, and above all, one faithful God.